Hi guys, today we are going to take a look at the infinitive, omte. Where does the infinitive lie in Stompie? It is always last, right? And it's not necessary to be in every single sentence, of course. Alright, so how would you then combine two sentences with omte if the questions ask you to do something with the infinitive? And they will usually tell you it's omte. Alright, so let's see. As usual, I have my 8 steps, or I have my steps, exactly how you should be writing your sentences when the questions ask you to combine two sentences with omte. We'll look at an example question. So for example, Zara klim in die kar, Zara ry vinnig op die pad, right? And the question would be something like, verbind. Now I got an 8-step foolproof method for you guys that will get you full marks every single time. And as usual, I start with like a background step, like you have to start thinking about your sentence, your answer, right? So step 1, look at your two sentences, read them. What are your two sentences? We've just read the two sentences. Zara klim in die kar, Zara ry vinnig op die pad. Now you know that is your two sentences. She's driving a car and she's driving very fast on the road. Right. Step 2, write down the first sentence as is. So what we're going to do, the step tells us, write on the first sentence as is. So, Zara klim in die kar. Step 3, add om. So, we add om. Step 4, remove repeated pronouns, proper nouns in the second sentence. What is our second sentence? Remember, this is our first sentence. That is our second sentence. And now step 5 is telling us to remove repeated pronouns or proper nouns. Do we see that Zara is in the first sentence and in the second sentence? So we're just going to remove Zara from there. That is our fourth step. Step 5, take out the verb in the second sentence. And I want to write here actually, this is going to be like temporary. We're just like ignoring it for a second. So we look at the verb. What is our verb? Ry vinnig op die pad. Ry is to drive. So that is our verb. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily just ignore it for now. Right? I'm going to temporarily ignore ry. Maybe write it on the side of the page. Then I write the remaining words in that sentence as is in the same order. You don't change anything. So what is remaining? Vinnig op die pad. So I add vinnig op die pad. Then step 7, I'm going to add my te. Remember, I've already added my om. So now I got to add my te somewhere, and that is the next step. You got to add your, right, and that will almost be the completion of your infinitive. The last step is to add that verb you took out in step 5. What was the verb we ignored temporarily in step 5? That was to take out, that was ray. So the last step is to add your verb. And then you put a full stop. And that's how you will combine two sentences with omte. But remember, that is not the only way they can ask you the infinitive. But if that is asked, that is how you do it. Alright. Other ways they could ask it, this is usually in the higher grades. So in grade 11, matric, this is often how they ask you to do the infinitive. So let's look at the first question. I'm just going to indicate here this is question 1 and this is question 2. So in the first question, John speel, and the question will say, start with John hou daarvan. So now I want you to remember, my step 1 says, what are your two sentences? Your first sentence will be what the examiner tells you to start with. So what is our first sentence? John hou daarvan. Cool. And then your second sentence is what the question was. John speel graag sokke. So that will be your two sentences and you will follow the exact same steps. You take the first sentence as is, right? Remember? John hou daarvan. Then what do? You add om. Then what do? You now look at your second sentence and remove any repeated pronouns and proper nouns. What is our second sentence? That was the initial question. John is repeated again. So we'll literally remove that. Step 5. Look at the verb, take it out temporarily. What is our verb? Speel. We take it out temporarily. We will write it there on the side. Speel. Then we write the remainder of that sentence as is. Then we add our te. So now we have omte. But the last step is to add back the verb we ignored initially. And that was speel. John hou daarvan om graag sokke te speel. So that's another way they can ask you in the exam. Another way, well, let's just say that. Another way they can ask you, and this is what I often see in matric final papers. They put it in a bracket, and that is the key. So my steps, remember, I say 2 sentences. Now in the exam, like, ma'am, you said I must look at 2 sentences, but there's a bracket. There's only 1 sentence. So the bracket is going to be your second sentence. So whatever is in front of the bracket, that's your first sentence. What's in your bracket will be your second sentence, and you will do the same steps exactly as is. So let's do it one more time. Write the first sentence as is. John het die werk geleer. Add om. Look at your second sentence. Remove any repeated pronouns or proper nouns. Then we look at the bracket because that is our second sentence, right? There's no repeated pronouns or proper nouns there, so we literally just skip that step because it's not needed in this question. Next step, we write the remainder of the second sentence as is. Examen, but you know what we missed? We missed step 5. What was step 5? Step 5 was to temporarily remove the verb. And what was the verb? Slag. So even though it's at the end, just do it. Just do it because it's in the steps. Then you write the remainder of the sentence. Die examen. Then you got to add your te. So now you have your te. And then the last step is to add your verb. And that is slag. And then you put a full stop. John het die werk geleer die examen te slag. Full stop. And you will get full marks. That's it for now, guys.